Hey guys, today I'm going to be making Mary Berry's Bakewell Tart. And Mary Berry is a cooker over in London or England. And she's on the Great British Bake Off, if you ever watched that. She's on there. She's got really good recipes. This is her recipe for a Bakewell Tart. I'm going to be showing you ingredients as we go along. That way, you know, I don't have to do them all at one time. You'll just see this is ingredients to make this one part. We are not making there's a raspberry jam in there. We are taking the raspberry jam. We just bought a jar of raspberry jam. I know it's probably not as good as homemade, but it's a lot cheaper, one, and we wouldn't use the other raspberries for anything, so it would be wasted. So we just bought raspberry jam. So what you want is, for your pastry crust, first of all, you're gonna need a tart pan of some kind, and you want one that pulls free. You want one that comes off the bottom. That way when you take it out, you're not having to fight with it. You can just push it right up and it comes out. So you will need a tart pan. And you'll need a rolling pin, of course. This is all measured out in ounces and grams, because that's how they do things. They don't do things by cups, half cups, quarter cups, tablespoons. It's almost always measured out in grams. So that's how I measure everything out. So we need 225 grams of just plain flour, and you need extra flour for dusting your surface. That's what this is for. You need 150 grams of butter, which worked out to be a stick and 3 tablespoons, I believe. Then you need 25 grams of icing sugar, which is powdered sugar over here. And you need 1 egg, and then 2 tablespoons of cold water, which now that I'm looking, it isn't even listed on the ingredients list, but it should be, because it's what you're gonna put in there, but you have to have it one way or the other. So the first thing I'm going to do is, this butter is cool. It's cold butter. It's not hard butter. I mean, it's hard butter. So I'm going to drop that in my flour, and make sure you've washed your hands, because you're going to get your hands in here. And you might want to take your rings off, just in case. I hand it to the camera lady. And what you want to do is this might be too hard, the butter. I've never done this before, so we'll see. You're supposed to like crush your flour and your butter together till it makes like almost like well, it calls it fine breadcrumbs. So that's what you're going for, is breaking it all up, sticking it, that's the oven, breaking it up into little pieces to where it's like fine breadcrumbs. So I'm gonna sit here and do this. There's no reason for you to sit here and watch me do this. I'm gonna keep squeezing on this and breaking it up into smaller and smaller pieces, and then I'll be back when I get it all broken up. Okay, here's my flour and butter, and you can see it does look like breadcrumbs. It literally looks like breadcrumbs. There's probably some hunks in there, but it's all right. Next thing you're supposed to do is stir in your powdered sugar, or your, what do they call it? It's powdered sugar over here. It just says to stir it in, so I'm assuming you're just wanting to get it mixed in. And then the next step, it says to mix this with your egg and your water until it forms a ball. So I'm taking that as reading, put it in your mixer with your dough hook. So there's that. There's that. There's my water. An egg. Let's let this go until a ball forms. I might have to scrape it down a little bit, but a ball was starting to form, and it's it kind of got a little stuck to the bottom, which is fine. But we're going to roll this out to a pound coin, which a pound coin is. So this is more of a crust, like you don't need this. It's not a dough. You don't really need it. But you do want to dust it with a little bit of flour so it's not sticky. And I've always been a kind of person that likes to just push it for a while. because I hate rolling pins and I hate rolling stuff out. So I've just always been you know, let's just push it out as far as we possibly can. That is about right to me. And you really just want to make sure it covers your pan, and it will. So let's see if I can do this without making a mess. You ready? Dust off some of the flour. Got flour, too much flour on there, just knock it off. It's a pretty resilient dough though. I mean, it's really pretty flexible. Okay. I'm worried about it being too thick. And that's probably right. And what you want to do is you want to now get it in the crust. In the pan. And you don't want to flatten it out too much, but you do want to get it all the little grooves, and you want to fill in the grooves. So what we're going to do now is I'm going to put it in the fridge and let it cool for about 30 minutes. So just like it is, and just let it cool, and I'll be back. All right, it's been in the refrigerator for half an hour, so it's very firm now. I guess it makes the butter firm all up. So now what I'm going to do, the oven is preheated to 390 degrees Fahrenheit convection bake. The temperature that they wanted on was 200 degrees Celsius fan is what they call it. So that's what it is. So it's preheated. What you want to do is get a piece of parchment paper. I probably got one that's almost too big, but no, it's probably not too bad. And we're going to use dried beans. Now, you can read on, they make baking beans, which are little like ceramic beans. You can use those, which is probably easier because you can just recycle, pour them in a jar and just keep reusing them over and over again. Rice is also recommended, or you can use dried beans. Dried beans were what we use. But the bad thing is about the dried beans, you can't cook with them. So really, once you get done, you just throw them away in the garbage. Rice, supposedly, you can reuse. You can reuse rice because all it does is toast it. It like toasts the rice. One of the websites says that it actually just the butter leaks up through the parchment paper a little bit and toast your rice. And they said it actually makes it even better. So okay, there's the beans in there. So this is gonna bake for 15 minutes just like it is. And then we're gonna take it out, dump the beans out, remove the parchment paper, and bake it for another 5 minutes with nothing on there. So that's what I'm gonna do. Okay, so while the crust is in the oven, now I'm gonna mix up my filling. What we need is 150 grams of butter, which again is a stick plus 3 tablespoons. We need 150 grams of what they call castor sugar, which is just regular sugar for us. 150 grams of ground almonds, and we couldn't find ground almonds, so we found these diamond sliced almonds. We have a chopper, just an electric chopper. We measured them out and chopped them, so that's it. Quite a bit. I mean, that makes a lot. I mean, that's a lot of almonds. We want 1 egg and 1 teaspoon of almond extract, and this is what we have. This was what, I think we got it at Walmart. That's where we got it. So the first thing you want to do is you want to take your butter and your sugar, and you want to cream them together until it's pale and fluffy. So we're going to cream these two, the butter and the sugar, and you notice the butter is softened. I remember who gave you this. Who sent you this?
Lila.
Yeah, thank you, Lila. That's a nice scraper. So you get the butter and the sugar, and we're going to cream it together until it's pale and fluffy. All right, that's mixed up. It's pale and fluffy. So now we're going to add the almonds, the almond extract, which there's not a lot of it. I mean, that's a pretty small amount, and then the egg. I guess I could have lifted that mixer up, but why not be difficult? Okay, so I'm just going to mix this. so it's all mixed together. Okay, this is the crust when it comes out of the oven. When it comes, it needs to cool before you do anything else. And some of the pieces did break off, but I'm just gonna try to cut off like around the edges and just kind of break it off to where it's even. Anyway, what you need to do is you let it cool off for a little bit. And then we need to drop our oven temperature to 356 degrees Fahrenheit. That little piece kind of slid off. Some of these look, I'm not sure I'm too stressed about this. It doesn't stick up that much. But so anyway, drop your oven temperature to 356. And then once this cools off, I'll be back to show you what the filling looks like. All right, it's been about 10 minutes or so. I'm gonna take, the first thing you do is you take your raspberry, your 4 tablespoons, haven't said that yet, maybe I did, I don't remember. There's 4 tablespoons of raspberry jam in this bowl, and all I've done is stirred it up and made it to where it's not all clumped together. And again, I just used a jar of Smucker's raspberry jam. So I'm just gonna spread that along the bottom. Take your filling, and it just says basically spoon it in and spread it out. So I'm just going to take little scoops here and there. So I'm going to get this in the oven. Again, I reduced my oven temperature to 356 Fahrenheit. And I'm going to put it in there. It says 25 to 35 minutes, or when it's golden brown on top and a skewer or toothpick pushing here comes out dry. So that's what I'm going to do. Okay, here it is. It was actually in the oven. We checked it at 25 minutes and it was really, really jiggly on the top. I mean, in the whole thing, and it was just liquid in the middle. So we left it in there another 5 minutes and it was still a little liquidy in the middle. So we left it in there another couple minutes after that, and now it's firmed up pretty good. So the toothpick comes out clean. So it's that's what it looks like. So it is golden brown for sure. So now it has to cool off completely. We can't even touch it until it's cooled off completely, and then we'll do the icing. So I'll be back when we're ready to do that. Okay, the tart's had time to cool off, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take the ring off. You can use a can, a glass, or whatever. I don't like something fat because I worry about me and my big hands dropping it off there. But that drops off there, and then you just lay it right there and you can slide it right off. It's very buttery. There we go. So what I'm gonna do now is mix the frosting up, or the icing. It's not frosting, it's icing. This is 300 grams of powdered sugar, or what they call, what do they call it? Icing sugar. And then I've got the almond extract, which I'm going to use 1 teaspoon of this. And then I'm going to use 3 tablespoons of water. Yeah, of cold water. Let me get cold water because it's still a little warm when we wash dishes. Hold on. Why it has to be cold, I don't know, but it specifically says cold, so I want to make sure it's cold. And then you really want to do a little bit of this with pink. This is pink food gel, and not food coloring, it's food gel. So we'll add a little bit of this to some of this frosting, or this icing, just to let you know, to make it pink, and then we'll pipe it on. So here's what we do. We take our powdered sugar, we take our 1 teaspoon of, oh, you also need a toothpick, and some kind of bag to pipe it with. And we're just gonna use a snack bag, because there's only 3 tablespoons of this already gonna use, so it's not very much. So you need a teaspoon of the almond extract. I'm amazed how clear this is. It's almost like water. And then you need, it's funny how it sinks down in there. And then you need approximately 3 tablespoons of water. It says about 3 tablespoons. So what I'm gonna do 2 and maybe maybe half of 1. And we'll start out with that, and then we'll see where it goes from there. But they said it'll be thick. but it shouldn't be too thick to where you can't spread it. So I mean, if it's like paste, we don't want that. It's like glue, you know, we don't want that. But it's yeah, like this is stirring up well, but I can tell it's really thick. So let me put just a little bit more water in here. And you can see how thick that is. I mean, that's thick. So a little bit more. Still awfully thick to me. I'm not going to add any more to it, but that's awfully thick. I mean, it's very hard.
It looks perfect.
I think so?
Mm-hmm. That's how those Mr. Kiplings look. It's thick like that on the Mr. Kiplings.
Okay. We'll go with it. All right. So I'm going to take 3 tablespoons, roughly, of this and put it in this bowl so I can mix my pink coloring in. I don't even think we'll need much more than that. Honestly, like a little bit, just a touch more. Now the next thing we're gonna do, I'll put that to the side, and we just want to put this on the tart and the tart and spread it. I don't know how you spread that. It's still awfully thick. I'm telling you. Okay, I'm still not 100% convinced. I'm worried about it being too thick, but then you know, we're both thinking you don't want it too thin either because you don't want it to run off of the thing. You really want it to be pretty thick and pretty tight, you know, onto the top of it. So we're just going to go with it and we'll see how it works. As long as I can spread it, that's the biggest thing. Open my pink gel, and it's pretty thick. I ain't worried about getting anything in there, honestly. And you just want a really light pink color. Ooh, that came over in there. There we go. And let me see how this is going to work. Might need to add a little bit more to it. The good thing about the gel is it goes a really long way. I mean, it doesn't take much. You see how much I put in there, and it's pretty pink. Tiny little hole. I don't want to cut. I don't want to make much of a hole. Here we go. I like piping bags better, but this will work. Now, if you want the true look, you have to take a toothpick and you just run it down to get a feathered look. And I truly think this is probably too thick. Now that I'm doing this, because it should be more running together when you do this, not make lines through it. We'll see. Once it's settled, we'll see. Maybe it'll be all right.
Okay, I'm here now. I cut the tart and I did take a close-up picture of it because I know that you all, I'm sure you want to see the inside of it. I always want to see the inside.
And I don't have a soggy bottom.
No.
Which is a bad thing, by the way.
Paul would turn it sideways and tap it on the bottom.
You can see. That's good. At first I thought it was going to be kind of strange tasting.
Oh, that's delicious. That's perfect. That is perfect.
This is going to sound strange. The first flavor I get of that is almost like a meaty flavor. It is. It's like a meaty kind of a roasty kind. I don't know what it is. After you get the sweetness, really the tart itself is not very sweet.
No.
It's the icing that makes it sweet.
The icing makes it sweet, yeah.
So if you get very little icing and a lot of tart, it's not very sweet. I don't know.
I love it. The only difference in ours and ones that we've had in the past is because we didn't find ground almonds and we crushed our own. These might be a little bit bigger pieces of almond, but I still love it this way. I really do. You get little bits of those almonds.
It's good.
I think it's absolutely delicious.
It's not my favorite, but it's good.
So now that you've made it, would you make it again for me?
It's a pain in the butt though. There's a lot of steps. I do have to say that. There's a lot of steps to it. It wasn't really hard. It was just, there were steps upon steps. You know what I mean?
That lady on the bake-off said she made one every weekend though. Every weekend. But if you get used to it,
I guess so.
I'm trying to talk him into it. Or we could make our own little Mr. Kipling's.
Take a bite near the edge.
Near the edge?
Yeah, take a bite of the edge.
We could make
I'll
our
tell you
own
why.
little Mr. Kipling's, Kevin.
I think I realized a mistake.
What?
Taste it, you'll see. Tastes sweeter. Taste the raspberry, don't you?
Oh, that raspberry went up to the edge. Oh my gosh.
When I put my middle in, you probably watched it. It all came up to the edge, and I was like, "That I don't know if that's right or not."
Oh my gosh! All the raspberry.
All the raspberries on the edge. So
it's literally on the edge.
If you had that much raspberry through the whole thing, it would have been a lot better.
So we need to put more raspberry. Is that what you're saying?
No, not more raspberry. I need to do it. I think what I did was I spooned big hunks of the filling in there. What I think I would do next time is spoon small spoonfuls of filling around the outside first.
Oh,
and then slowly work my way in to where it doesn't press it all out when I'm trying to spread it out.
Yeah.
You know, it's one of those things you learn as you're doing it. So hopefully, if you are going to make this along with me, hopefully you watch the whole video first and you'll hear this now. Do smaller spoonfuls around the edges, hold your jam in place. Right. And then use smaller spoonfuls. I would literally almost put small spoonfuls to fill the whole thing up, and then if it still didn't look smooth enough, then I might try to smooth it over. I don't know that I would even smooth it over. I think I would just let it run as it heats up. And the icing turned out good, but it is a little bit too thick, so I needed just a hair more water in there.
Right.
I think it would have been fine.
And the funny thing is they were saying 3 tablespoons. You used at least 4.
Well, it's at about 3. And you can never know with powdered sugar how much it's going to take to make it the right consistency. So that's why.
Well, you can tell I love it.
It's very good.
I absolutely love it. I think it's delicious. I definitely want him to make it again.
I would probably try it again.
Yeah. Yeah, this is good. And this is something that we don't have here.
Yeah, so you have to make it yourself.
Yeah, you have to make it yourself. You can't go to the store and buy these. So it would be neat for him to make it when we're going to be like having company and introduce other people to something new like this, something that they've never had before.
Yeah, but I wish I'd done the raspberry all through and it would have been better all through. It's good, but the raspberry needs to be there to add that sweetness to it.
Yeah, but I love it. I still love it. Next time we'll know.
Yep.
So I hope you enjoyed getting to see this, and thanks for watching.